Hansel and Gretel's Sweet Escape. Once upon a time, in a tiny cottage near the edge of the Whispering Pines, lived two siblings, Hansel and Gretel. Hansel was a clever boy with messy brown hair and a pocket always full of string, rocks, or snacks. Gretel, his younger sister, had bright eyes and a braid so long it nearly reached her knees. She always carried a small book of poems and doodles tied to her belt with twine. Their parents, woodcutters by trade, loved them dearly but were struggling. A long drought had dried up the forest mushrooms, the berries had vanished, and the firewood business was slow. Their cupboards echoed from emptiness. One cold morning, their stepmother said, "We must send the children to stay with Aunt Agatha in the hills. We can't feed everyone." But Hansel and Gretel had never met Aunt Agatha, and something about her name sent a chill down their spines. That night, Hansel overheard the plan and whispered to Gretel, "We're not going to any aunt. We'll find our way home." He filled his pockets with white pebbles that sparkled like starlight and left a trail as they walked with their stepmother the next morning. Sure enough, after their stepmother left them to gather pine cones, the forest felt colder, darker. But when the moon rose, the pebbles shimmered under the starlight, guiding them safely back home. Their father wept with joy when he saw them. But food was still scarce, and the stepmother grew colder than winter wind. Days later, she tried again. This time, Hansel had no time to gather pebbles, so he crumbled a piece of dry bread and dropped crumbs behind them. But birds fluttered down and gobbled every single crumb. Lost, really lost this time. They wandered through bramble and moss, their feet sore, tummies growling like thunderclouds. Just when they thought they'd faint from hunger, they stumbled into a clearing and gasped. A cottage, glowing golden in the afternoon light, sat beneath a sugar plum tree. Its roof shimmered with toffee tiles, its windows framed with gingerbread. Licorice curled along the chimney, and gumdrops lined the walkway. The entire house looked like it had been baked in a dream. "Are we dreaming?" Gretel whispered. Hansel didn't wait. He bit into the candy cane fence and sighed. Nope, real. They giggled and nibbled and licked frosting until a voice creaked from inside. "Well, well, what have we here?" Out stepped a woman with hair like whipped cream and eyes like hard candy, sparkly but cold. "My dears," she cooed, "come in. You must be starving. I have warm pudding, plum pies, and cocoa clouds." Too tired to be cautious, the children followed. At first, everything seemed perfect. Soft feather beds, full bellies, even bubble baths with cookie dough soap. But by the third day, Gretel noticed strange things. The woman always locked the pantry. She whispered to a big black book. And Hansel? He was suddenly being fed too much and wasn't allowed to go outside. Ever. One night, Gretel peeked through a crack in the pantry door. What she saw made her freeze. Jars of strange things. Bones, teeth, dusty spices labeled child's joy and essence of fear. And in the corner, a cage, big enough for a boy. The candy woman wasn't just sweet, she was a witch. Gretel ran back to Hansel, heart pounding. "She's fattening you up," she said. "We've got to escape." Hansel nodded grimly. "Tomorrow." The next morning, the witch cackled, "Time for my special stew," and reached for a giant pot. But as she turned to open the oven, Gretel cried out, "Wait! I don't understand how to use the fire. Can you show me?" The witch, eager to gloat, leaned over the roaring oven. Quick as a blink, Gretel shoved her in and slammed the door shut. Boom! The oven glowed blue for a moment, then went still. Hansel and Gretel looked at each other, shocked. Then they hugged tight, tears and crumbs on their cheeks. They searched the cottage and found a map tucked in the witch's book, a map with red ink pointing to a path home. They also found a tiny chest of coins and charms, labeled "For emergency escape only." Guess this counted. With their arms full of supplies and their hearts full of courage, they journeyed home through misty woods and sleepy streams, guided by the map. Their father ran to them as they appeared from the trees, joy bursting in his eyes. The stepmother was gone. She'd left after a fight with a fox, don't ask. From then on, they lived together in peace, using the coins to buy seeds and tools. Gretel wrote a book of their adventure, and Hansel made candy-free wind chimes to warn other children of danger. They never got lost again, and they never ate houses again either. In real life, you may not get lost in a forest, but you can face tough times, feeling left out, dealing with unfair people, or facing choices that seem too big. Just like Hansel and Gretel, always stay smart, kind, and brave. Trust your instincts, help your friends, and talk to adults you trust when you feel unsure. Not everything that looks fun is safe, and not everyone who's nice is good. But when you use your head and your heart together, you'll always find your way back, just like they did.